happening, fellow Exorcists, and welcome to the Lair of the Film Exorcist. Tonight we will be taking a look at Venom. A failed reporter is bonded to an alien entity, one of many symbiotes who have invaded Earth. But the being takes a liking to Earth and decides to protect it. Yeah, that's basically the premise of this movie, guys. It's a lot more comedy than I like, but yeah, this is the best we're gonna do right now for a Venom film until we at least have the sequel. And if you haven't heard of this movie, where the heck have you been? You shouldn't be living under a rock. Get out. Find this movie, watch it, and let me know in the comments what you think about it, because it's either this or Spider-Man 3. Now, let's get on to my real opinion. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I was thinking of saving this movie for a special occasion, like when I finally decide to do any of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, or any of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, but since this was my very first time watching Venom, I felt that I should give you guys my first impression, instead of waiting and giving you the leftovers or whatever I think of it after watching it a third time, like I planned to from the beginning. So here it is. I'm sure you all know that Sony created this movie, so I'm not gonna go too deep into the studio like I do with my anime reviews, but I will say that they did pretty good for their first superhero movie since the terrible Amazing Spider-Man movies, despite what the critics say. So let's see what this movie can do. Is it good, or is it just another turd in the wind? Like always, let's start with our main symbiote duo, Venom and Eddie Brock. Now, I'm sure we can all agree that this is the best live-action incarnation of Venom, especially since it's the only other one other than the least memorable Spider-Man 3 version, which is widely hated for how awkward it looks due to the terrible CGI. I mean, look at that crap. Yeah, it crawling up his body and turning him into Venom is pretty cool, but the design isn't as good as it could have been. I mean, Spider-Man's costume in that movie, the Black Spider-Man, is 100 times better than this. So, what were you thinking, creators and designers of the suit? Why? But here we have a much cooler Venom who actually acts like the monster that we know him to be. I mean, he literally just wants to eat people and survive, which is why I like to think of him more as the devil on Eddie Brock's shoulder, where Eddie is kind of the angel on Venom's shoulder. Kind of, not really, since he's still kind of a D-bag, but you get what you get. And Venom is really cool in this movie. I mean, during the last few minutes, all you hear about is, can we eat him? Can we eat him? No. I'll show you who we can eat, and then you can eat them. But other than that, how about we get, like, frozen pizza bagels, or frozen food? I like that. I also like chocolate. Okay. Yeah, that was a good scene. That is one of the scenes I'm gonna remember most, especially since it was the beginning of one of the scenes that we do see during the trailer. Yeah, thanks, Sony. You ruined the movie for a lot of us by basically blowing your load a little too soon. You'd think you'd have learned with any of the other movies you've done. I did find some of the dialogue to be a bit awkward, but I can forgive because the action scenes are just so awesome. Especially the choreography. Especially in the amazing fight scene where Eddie Brock destroys this group of people in the apartment while using Venom. And it's just, oh my god, he's turning these characters into complete ragdolls and making them look like they've literally had no training. I mean, that main villain of this movie hired these mercenaries, supposed to be the top mercenaries of this movie, and he destroys them in that kitchen. It's awesome. And I can definitely see why Venom is Spider-Man's greatest villain next to Green Goblin, but we all know that Venom is the main anti-hero of the series and the main villain that everyone knows and everyone's coming back to see. I mean, you can't tell me that you've never thought of Venom as the coolest creature next to Carnage. I also liked how they changed Eddie Brock's backstory to have him start out as an investigative journalist whose main goal is to take down any inhumane company, and this is ultimately what causes our hero to meet up with the symbiote. So, in a way, we get to see Eddie Brock's humanity and a new story for Venom. Next, we have our villain, or I guess you can call him a villain, Carlton Drake, aka Riot. Now, after hearing other reviewers talk about this movie, and I can kinda see that Carlton is technically the Justin Hammer of the Sony Venomverse, because, I mean, why? And this is definitely because he kinda seems like a very boring villain, because his character has been done so many times that it's become old and stale. I mean, who hasn't seen a villain that wants to upgrade humanity, but also really doesn't care who he hurts in the end? Now, when Riot comes into the picture, I started enjoying him a lot more, because Riot is just so cool. I mean, it's like the movie tried to forget about Drake, or aka Hammer of this movie, and finally gave us the real villain of this movie, despite him always being in the movie, hopping from person to person, finding his next way home to start the invasion, and it's really cool. I did kind of feel that it was kind of stupid how they just made him Venom with spikes, but the design is still amazing. And I'm kind of sad that he had to die just for the next movie. Hopefully Carnage is better. Next, we have Eddie Brock's ex-girlfriend Anne and her boyfriend Dan. Wow, they found a way to rhyme that, yeah. Thanks, guys. These two try to help Eddie, but that's really all they do. So they weren't anywhere near my favorite characters other than when we get the little cameo of She-Venom, who I hope to see in another Venom movie, because she is kinda hot, but also she's just so amazing. I mean, we only get to see her for a very short time, but damn, female Venom? Yeah, that's gonna cause a lot of fan art in my head now. Thank you, Sony. Now, let's move on to the story, which is arguably my least favorite part of the movie at certain parts. Like I said before, I do like the chemistry between Eddie Brock and Venom, but like most, I do wish that this story was a lot darker. And thanks to Angry Joe, who I did learn that about 40 minutes were cut out of the film for timing, and within those 40 minutes, there was a lot to be seen, especially all the dark humor that was cut, and just so many plot points that could have made this movie so much better. I mean, it was almost a 3-hour movie, or 2-hour movie, I don't remember, but it could have made it better than it was. Now, I've never read any of the comics about Venom, but I have at least seen that one Disney cartoon with Agent Venom, where it's Spider-Man in high school. I think it was called The Amazing Spider-Man, and I have listened to a lot of the Origin Explained videos on Venom, so I do kinda know what Venom's deal is, but I just didn't see it here. I especially wanted this movie to be more of a horror-esque kind of movie, but due to corporate taking over and trying to turn this into a PG-13 movie, we didn't get to see the Venom that we needed. We got what the corporate wanted, but not what we wanted, if you can get what I mean. Venom could have been a whole lot scarier, people, and it could have done the dark humor a little better, other than constantly having Venom wanting to eat people and then having Eddie Brock eat out of the trash. Yeah, thanks for that scene. Now I can't forget that. I also wanted to see Venom eat people, like, give us more than just the people disappear off screen, and essentially it started out as have him start out as a villain. Now that would have been good. And later on, have him become the hero thanks to Eddie Brock trying to give more control to Venom and having them take down Riot, who wants to cause an invasion. Now, if we had a darker movie like that, like I was just saying, where Venom is evil, Eddie Brock comes in, tries to take a bit more control over the symbiote, and they start working as a team with more development, that would have been amazing. No, we just have Venom taking over throughout the movie, Eddie Brock talking, and that's it. The dynamic could have been better, but I'm okay with what we got. It's just, this is Venom, one of the scariest villains in Spider-Man next to Carnage. You could have done him so much better. Now, yeah, we did kind of get that near the end, but it could have been done differently. But again, I did still love Eddie Brock's new origin story and all the action scenes that took place in this movie, and I kind of like the little scenes where we follow Riot as he moves from person to person looking for Venom. Now, it may seem like I have a lot of complaints about this movie, but I did actually really enjoy this as just another superhero movie, your generic kind, because that's just what it is. And to me, this is my Joker, because Joker changed the character, this changed the character, and honestly, I can't wait until the sequel, because we get to see what Carnage does, and they've got Woody Harrelson doing it. Now, Woody Harrelson is a funny guy, amazing in Zombieland, and I don't know about its sequel because I never got to see that yet, but he is awesome. And I can't wait to see how evil Carnage can be in this movie. So don't screw it up, corporate. Please, I want to get a bloodier superhero movie. And plus, I mean, Sony could do it with Deadpool. Why is this so different? Why did they have to make this into such a lame movie? Oh, now, if you guys didn't catch it in the beginning of the movie, we do get to meet J. Jonah Jameson's son, the astronaut, in his first live-action appearance since Spider-Man 2. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm sorry to say this, but I'd have to give it a 5 out of 10. Because again, I did like Eddie Brock and Venom, and the action scenes, but I do think that this movie could have been a lot better if there was a lot more gore or a better villain. I mean, even Iron Man did it better for his first movie, and then tried again with the third one, and he was okay. Thor did it better with his first movie, so what's with this generic science environmentalist guy who wants to help the civilization and ends up turning evil. What were you thinking? So yeah, I'd recommend this to anyone looking for a good comedic superhero movie or something similar to Joker. So yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and we'll be back to anime when we see you guys next week on The Film Exorcist.